The wonderful thing about praying is that you leave a world of not being able to do something and enter God's realm where everything is possible. He specializes in the impossibility. Nothing is too great for his almighty power. Nothing is too small for his love. Corrie ten Boone. With a name that sounds hauntingly familiar, with this person that continues to inspire me from the past of Corrie ten Boone, I bring you another person where the names are somewhat similar, and a story that should move you. It should stir you, and it should bring those that have sat by silent to exert themselves and make sure their voices are heard. So we come to Okolona, Mississippi, Rose Hill. And I've covered and will continue to cover the killing fields of Rose Hill. Today I'm going to talk about Malcolm King Boone. On September the 27th, 2020, he was assassinated. He was murdered. He was shot 8 times. One time in the front and 7 times in the back. On his retreat, which dismisses any idea of self-defense or a stand your ground argument that an accomplice may attempt to take. What kind of person can walk up to an individual, insinuate that this individual was somehow involved in the death of his father or something along that line? That all based on hearsay or innuendo. But those that know Malcolm knew that he was not even in the same state when this happened. What kind of person is this Tracy Baskin Jr.? This cold-blooded killer that's still walking around free. While a young man is in the cemetery. There's a lot of people that are culpable in not only incubating and cultivating the perfect environment for these kind of crimes. These people are still in place, many in a position of trust. And I'm going to tell you folks, this is misplaced trust. So we'll start with some that were there on the scene first. Uncle Tommy Ivy, the chief of police. To my knowledge, he can't read or write. He's chief of police. I don't know what the extent of that is, but I'm close to being right on it. Took pictures of the deceased, and almost immediately they were posted on social media. Where do they do that at? Uncle Tommy Ivy is the quintessential picture of a houseboy. But I'm not so sure Uncle Tommy is really running things around there. Not in the police department. We got to look at Assistant Chief Sherry Harden. And boy, has she got a story. Now, she's got her story, and then there's the truth. I don't suspect that everybody's in on the know on this deal, but I can assure you there are plenty that are on the know. This is what they're not telling you that I'm going to tell you. Perhaps Sherry can talk about her relatives over in Itawamba County. Perhaps Sherry can tell you about her involvement in community-oriented policing, where they systematically target and stalk citizens, and they work outside of the law. They work to circumvent due process and every other constitutional right afforded to every single person in the United States of America, because they know what's best. This is what they're not telling you. I, for one, know personally what I'm talking about is being targeted by this person and her family that is reminiscent of these Hills Have Eyes crowd living over in the Mantassia area. This is the Hills Have Eyes and Deliverance gone bad, ladies and gentlemen. So if you wonder if there was something one-off about this Sherry Harden and how did she end up in Okolona, and how is it that she's the assistant to an illiterate chief? Is he a puppet? You tell me. Is she leading a double lifestyle? You better believe it. This is a key player in North Mississippi when it comes to crimes against humanity. Even though that is an underlying inside joke, they like to laugh about it when I mention it. You're not laughing as much now, are you? Surely to goodness, Sherry Harden didn't expect Richard Moore to just go away. He was to be discredited, and we marginalized him, and the smear tactics and the rumor campaigns and blackballing his family, and we've got this bull by the horns. The only bull you have by the horns, Sherry, is your bullshit. And it ain't got no horns, honey. Or sir, whichever it is. We can, she's also married into the family. Imagine that. And boy, that covers a multitude of sins, doesn't it? Of the individual that murdered Malcolm King Boone. Imagine that. Is that a coincidence? No. That's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Now, he's got a brother that's a rat. Wonder why they didn't target him. Of course, they're not going to target one of their own, are they? Hello. Malcolm was working at a furniture factory. He's not a dope dealer, but of course, we're in the dirty South, where the Klan is all alive and well without the hoods. It's all inclusive. And so we've got the Uncle and Aunt Toms that have cast their lot into oppressing Americans, other Americans. Somehow that empowers them, makes them feel better, validates them. And this is misplaced validation, ladies and gentlemen. The African Americans have remained at a crossroads for years. Many on the plantation of complacency, by standing by silently, while those that claim to speak for their race absolutely discredit their race and set them back 450 years of slavery and servitude. I think that we need to separate those that have their race, their people, in their best interest. And if you think Uncle Tommy and Aunt Sherry are doing their best they can, then you are got to be kidding me. Legalize murder. How long are we going to go for that? Then we find out that the Attorney General's office, and folks, this is mind-boggling. The Attorney General's office, folks, the Assistant District Attorney, let me make sure I get his there we go. I don't know who Robert Stokes is. And Commander Ron R.H.N. Giddens, other than they are known for covering up murders and criminal activities in Okolona. And for those that live there, know what I'm talking about. For those that don't live there, we're talking about a gang of criminals. Who is this gang of criminals? The fire chief, Okolona Volunteer Fire Department, of course, he's getting paid a salary in the Okolona Police Department. These are the people that are misusing federal grant money. These are people that have defrauded the American taxpayer. And these are the people that have committed and facilitated capital crimes against other citizens. I'm asking for the Department of Justice to investigate these criminals, to indict these criminals, and clean house in Okolona and, moreover, Chickasaw County, Mississippi. And let's not forget Anshe, Sugar Britches, Randall. Now, this Tracy Baskins, his mother's Karen Harris. And folks, anytime you have these hate crimes going on, there's always a Karen nearby. Now, she's related. I don't know what the relationship is to Pete Harris, and everybody in Chickasaw County knows who Pete Harris is or was. And they also have family that's on the police force in Houston. His nephew is one of the biggest covert rats and snitches, working for the police, knocked more heads off than you can count, and has a pretty good job at United Furniture. That's none other than Dylan, I'll snitch on my mama, Tackett. This is called the truth, ladies and gentlemen. It absolutely blows my mind. When we look at this case went in front of the grand jury, or so the family was told. And this is Carshawn Moore, an assistant district attorney for Chickasaw County. Folks, let me tell you something. He claims that they no-billed the indictment. A family member suggested they have a change of venue due to the obvious conflict of interest from the assistant district attorney, maybe that whole office all the way down. But they didn't give a change of venue. So it's the Fox Garden, the hen house, ladies and gentlemen. They no-billed the indictment. Now, for those that don't understand how a grand jury works, let me give you the journeyman's view, or the apprentice view, if you will. It's made up, I believe, of 22, 23 people. And this is where the prosecutor, and there's a place where you report these bad prosecutors, folks, and at USAGSA, Richard Moore, yours truly, is officially a citizens reporter with a national Brady list as we continue to compile these crimes and misdemeanors and misconduct and abuse of power and incompetence of law enforcement, attorneys, prosecutors, and judges. This exculpatory evidence is essential, especially when one of yours or your own is drug into court for a made-up, bogus charge. Maybe it was something a rat snitched, set up, and they developed the whole crime. Would it surprise you, ladies and gentlemen, to know that the very district attorney's office that prosecutes these crimes also communicate with the frontline crash dummies, the murderers, and they give them the roadmap to the perfect crime. Do this, 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 and they get that. If they have the perfect case, and they have a slam dunk in court. And I don't care how many attorneys you get. That's the deal. Why do you think most of these deals are played out? This good old boy backroom, smoke-filled backroom deals. Because due process has been prostituted, especially here in the dirty South. So they convene this grand jury, and this is not a vote of guilt or innocence, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a bar of beyond a reasonable doubt. This doesn't even meet the bar of a preponderance of evidence. In other words, is it more likely that this person committed this crime than not? It's based on what the prosecutor feeds the grand jury, and they say, okay, based on what they just told me, we feel like that it's enough information to formally charge this person with a crime. Again, this is no indication of guilt or innocence. It's simply a bar. Is there enough there to charge them formally? Ladies and gentlemen of the grand jury, Baskins and witnesses on hand witnessed this. Shot the man point blank as he's trying to retreat. He shot him 7 times in the back. We want to charge him with capital murder. Yeah, I think go ahead and charge him. Let's have a day in court and see what really happened and get the whole deal out here. Absolutely. You can indict a ham sandwich. You're looking at a ham sandwich. While they can't indict a cold-blooded murderer, they have no trouble indicting Richard Moore when he puts a criminal on blast and exercises his First Amendment protected speech. They hate the Constitution and they hate the First Amendment. And this will be the death blow to this community orgasmic policing clan that continues to dig their heels in and defy the federal court's orders and to defy the Constitution and to spit on the graves and in the faces of the hundreds and thousands of men and women that died and bled to give us that Constitution and to keep this country free. They are a disgrace to even wear that flag on their shoulder and that badge. And not only are they a disgrace, they are thieves of the highest order. Because they've been telling you the whole time, we're protecting and serving, we're here for your best, and we're here to keep law and order and to enforce the law. They used to be called peacekeepers. They don't want peace. There ain't no money in peace. But there is money in law enforcement. And so, what's that mean? Well, we got to have murderers, rapes, drugs, dope, breaking and enterings. We have to have people scared to go out at night. Now, they put our trust in us. But what they don't tell you is the most dangerous criminal there is wearing that badge. Why are they dangerous? Because somehow you trust them. We trust them. We find, well, you know, there's some isolated every time you get a bad cop. My ass. When you quit saying there's a few bad apples and get off that BS, then maybe you'll move a little further along. Let me tell you something. Kashawn Moore, they begged you for a change of venue. Yeah. The deceased would have to ask for that. Something similar to what they were told. Folks, you can't make this up. And understand that when you have a problem of official misconduct, this many levels, and it's this convoluted, well, then we should go to the chief law enforcement officer of the state of Mississippi, and that's none other than Attorney General Lynn Fitch. Are you kidding me? Her recent marriage into the Ku Klux Klan dynasty, and you seem to believe or want to believe or would like to believe that Attorney General Lynn Fitch is going to slap the hands of her red-headed stepchildren in North Mississippi. You realize how many people have got mud on their shoes? Folks, it's wide and it's deep. It's not isolated. When you go into court, in the city court there in Okolona, you go, I believe their prosecutor is Weird Gene Barton. Now, we can take those same names of these individuals here, and we wonder why Of course, we can't forget Michael Fowler. He finally, they burned that leech off the till. Last heard he's working at the box factory there in Okolona. Moved from Davis Lake Road to Houston. And yes, Michael Fowler, there's a whole lot of people keeping up with you. And until we get the Department of Justice to catch up with you and to put you in a penitentiary where you belong, that will continue. We're going to keep exposing it. We're going to keep exposing it. The likes of Jimmy Rape. We don't know how many underage kids he raped, male and female. They finally fired him. They sent him off to a love-hate camp for 2 months, and he's out cutting everybody's grass, mainly United Furniture. Imagine that. If you're a rat and you've knocked the heads off of your own family members or murdered them, you've got a home at United Furniture. You can believe that. Come on home. You are amongst friends. That's a perfect dynamic, isn't it? Yeah, they contribute to the economy, local economy. You better believe they do. They keep law enforcement jails, building jails, courtrooms full, my God, the funeral homes full, and destroying families and all that. Not to mention that every piece of furniture they got, you can't even get manufactured housing, house trailer manufacturers to carry that crap. They've copied everybody else, changed a little bit. It's knockoffs by putting good companies out of business and destroying them and destroying families on the local. They've got a wonderful deal. The facts are facts. So we've got this, these people they had some kind of stop the violence. And I think we do need to stop the violence. But we don't need Aunt and Uncle Tom on there as representatives of the community that have cast their lot and that are coddling and holding hands with the enemy. We stop the violence by stopping the criminals with badges. Now, I hope I've ruffled some feathers. I hope I've done more than that. But I can tell you what. I've just given you the high points of these criminals and this death, this murder of Malcolm King Boone. Let me tell you something. I know Malcolm personally. Although I am familiar with several people within that circle. Nothing about his murder is something that you can dismiss as many of the clandestine Klansmen would like you to think. They always assume that because he's a young black man with dreadlocks or braids that he's selling dope and whistling at white women. So let them kill each other. Because that's basically the mentality, isn't it, Weird Gene? Uncle Tommy, y'all know that. It's high time. It's high time that those that won't change, let their voices be heard. Demand that justice is served for these criminals. There's one thing that we know in America is that this country remains divided, and it is not a fuzzy line in between this division. Not only do Black Lives Matter, white lives matter as well, not to take away from the Black Lives Matter movement. The talking points of BLM from the clandestine Klansmen, as they love to say, this was some orchestrated stunt. by them people. The same things they're saying about BLM is the same thing they were saying about MLK. You forget. You see, the community orgasmic policing hate history. They absolutely teach to refrain from history because they believe that they should focus on the future and changing the future, not based on history and the mistakes of the past, but based on their New Age doctrine of a Project Safe Neighborhood. Department of Justice running Project Eject in central Mississippi to get undesirables from neighborhoods. Project Eject. And they eject people by all means necessary. And when innocent bystanders die, nothing happens. Sure, Malcolm King Boone is dead. Or is he? You've extinguished that life. But with that, my friends, they gave life to a whole different subject, a bigger picture. And that life is the life of exposing the corruption of this long history and these dirty, dark Klansman secrets of Chickasaw County, Mississippi. And how absolutely appalling it is to suggest that they have included African Americans to perpetuate these crimes, assuming that the rest of them are on some type of intellectual plantation and that they're not only can't see it, they'll never dare speak about it. Unless you stand up, folks, and let your voice be heard, they'll be right. I want you to know that Malcolm has parents. He has brothers and sisters. He has family that hurt and grieve every day. Not just for his loss, but for the betrayal of the community and those in a position of trust. It doesn't get any worse than that. Condolences will only take you so far. Those closest to him, those that love him, will grieve and hurt the rest of their lives. When he was murdered, you murdered a part of them. They carry that wound today. While we see the likes of Keshawn Moore, Tommy Ivey, Sherry Harden, carrying on. It's business as usual. It's not business as usual. We don't know equal protection until we realize equal protection and justice for all. I will still be here. I will advocate for those that have been marginalized and dismissed as nobodies or a sad case. I'll continue. Keep me, their family, in your prayers, ladies and gentlemen. My email is in the comment section. I'm 100% viewer supported. Share and subscribe. It's imperative that viewers share this message, that we expose these crimes and the individuals behind it. Until next time, God bless you.